Am I the a-hole for making my wife throw out a whole chicken? So, my wife decided she was going to try a new recipe for dinner tonight. It's a one-pot chicken thing with orzo. She ordered the groceries online this morning and then went to collect them around 11 a.m. She got back home around midday and unloaded everything from the car. Flash forward to 5:30 p.m. and wife returns from an afternoon walk with her friends. After 5 minutes of dinner preparing sounds, I hear a loud WTF, "Where has the chicken gone?" from the kitchen. I naturally assume that she forgot to order it, but she assures me there is a chicken somewhere. Eventually, she tracks it down. It has been in the boot of our car all afternoon. Now, the chicken wasn't a frozen chicken. The chicken was a whole, fresh, raw chicken in a sealed bag. Although it wasn't a particularly warm day, we still had a high of 16 degrees C60F and our car was sitting out in the sunshine all afternoon. I told my wife I was posting this and she wants me to stress that the chicken was still cool to the touch. Personally, I wouldn't say the chicken was warm, but I also wouldn't call it overly cold. It's safe to say it was somewhere between fridge temperature and room temperature. After finding the chicken, I tell my wife I don't want to eat the chicken. She tells me we're going to eat the chicken. I go back to the couch and start Googling how long you can leave a chicken in the car for. I go back to the kitchen and tell my wife I don't want to eat the chicken. She tells me we're going to eat the chicken. I explain that I've Googled it and we shouldn't eat the chicken. She keeps preparing the chicken. We have a back and forth like this for a while, at which point I pitch the idea that she can have the chicken and I can just make something simple for my dinner. She's not thrilled because she wanted to make this meal for me. At this point, I tell her I'm not going to eat it and I feel like I'm being made to eat a chicken against my will. She then proceeds to walk out the door, get in the car, and head off in search of another chicken from the store. I feel like a bit of an a-hole about it. I also feel like we may have wasted a perfectly good chicken. You know what's worse than throwing out a chicken? Food poisoning. I would not have eaten that chicken either. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, no way I'd be eating a chicken that had sat inside a car for that long. It isn't worth risking salmonella. That crap is nasty. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my sister my Wi-Fi password after she accidentally gave it to her boyfriend? So I 27M live in a small apartment above my parents' garage. My sister 25F still lives at home. We've always been close-ish, but lately she's been bringing her boyfriend over constantly. A few months ago, she asked for my Wi-Fi password because the signal upstairs is better. I gave it to her. A week later, I noticed the internet was sluggish. I checked my router and saw 7 new devices connected. Turns out she gave my password to her boyfriend, just for one night. But then he gave it to his friends so they could download something quickly. I confronted her, she laughed it off and said, "It's just Wi-Fi, don't be so dramatic." I changed the password. She found out, got mad, and told my parents I was being petty. Now they're telling me I should just share because it's family. I said I'll happily share if she promises not to give it to anyone else. She refused, saying I can't control what people do. So I refused too. Now she's sulking, my parents are annoyed, and I'm getting side-eyed at dinner. Am I the a-hole for not giving her the new password? Set up a guest network and name it what your current network is. Change your own network to something like Comcast, Guest, or whatever so she doesn't realize it's yours. On the guest network, limit it to like 25% of the total bandwidth using the router's controls. She'll see the same name and think she and her freeloaders are on your usual network, but be limited to a fraction of the available bandwidth and whatever speed you allow. Don't be an a-hole. Be smarter than they are. Info. Were you sister's boyfriend and his 6 friends camped out in your garage? Because in order for them to be connected to your Wi-Fi and using your internet, they'd have to be in range of the signal. And the signal range of a typical router is around 150 feet. OP replies, "They all hang out in the main area below my apartment. It's right above the garage, which is detached from the house, but very close." Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband's childhood best friend she's too involved with my kid? A bit over a year and a half ago, me and my husband gave birth to our son. It was our first kid, and we were incredibly nervous and scared we were going to screw things up. The first week with him back were horrid. He cried all the time, and it was ridiculously exhausting, but I'd be lying if I said we didn't know what we were getting into. At the start, my husband's BSF was amazing. She would come round all the time, bring us food, spend time with our son babysitting, so we could some time away, and really appreciated the help, and she seemed to genuinely love my son. When my maternity leave was finished and I went back to work, she offered even more of her time to help with babysitting instead of me hiring someone. I said that I couldn't make her do that, and she surely had other things to do, and she said it was fine. She works from home on her online businesses anyway, and she even refused pay. And honestly, I didn't mind any of the help until now. I recently noticed on our doorbell that she had been coming in at night while I was doing occasional night shifts. I thought it was strange, but free help, so I never confronted it as weird as I felt it was. But yesterday, when I came home from a shift and found my son playing with her and found that he kept referring to her as Mama, I think something kind of broke inside of me, and I told her to get out. She protested and asked what's wrong, and I just asked her to leave and to not come here again, and she accused me of being jealous and that I was scared I was being replaced. She pointed out that if I was a more involved parent, my husband and son wouldn't need a second wife, and I screamed at her, told her if she knows what's good for her, she should get out. She finally did. My husband came home a bit after, and I told him about, and he just shrugged and didn't say anything. But my mother-in-law called and had a go at me, basically repeating her talking points and saying that I needed to apologize. And honestly, I'm at a lost cause at this point. I feel really bad and felt like went too far. Am I the a-hole? Edit. My mother-in-law just called my husband to set me straight, and to allow my husband's BSF to be allowed in the house to see her grandson, and that I need to get used to the fact that my son sees someone else as a mom, and at this point she practically is a second wife, especially considering I'm working. And honestly, F her, and F all of you in the comments who think I'm a crap mother for bloody working. She called herself your husband's second wife, and your husband just shrugged? Really? Major red flags. Not the a-hole. You have a husband problem. And she lets herself in your house? Remind hubby that he took vows with you and ignore mother-in-law. This woman wants to replace you. Be forewarned. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not catering to my nephew's pickiness? My sister-in-law is staying with us for a few months while they move, and it's been tough. I work from home while she's a stay-at-home mom, so she's home with me and her kids. Honestly, I don't mind them here much. My kid loves her cousins, and it's nice having someone to talk to at home during the day. But the tough part is cooking for them. Not only am I cooking for double the amount I'm used to, I also have to figure out what to make for them. Usually, I cook one dish and we all eat it. No complaints or choice otherwise, because that's how I grew up and I never saw a problem with it. I don't force feed, just set the bowl in front of them and they eat as much as they want. It's great. My daughter eats everything and rarely expresses she doesn't like something. As a 3-year-old, she does occasionally LOL. My sister-in-law's kids are very picky. They don't like tomato sauce, they don't like veggies, they don't like melted cheese, they don't like mayo on their burger, but sandwich is fine, they don't like soggy cereal, I can go on and on. Every day, I try to make something they like. I made pancakes. My sister-in-law is like, oh, what recipe did you use? My oldest only eats a specific recipe. When he walks in, she goes over the top to explain to the 6-year-old that this is a different recipe and he'll have to try it. He refuses to try it until she forces him to take a bite, and he throws a fit because he doesn't like it. The rest of the kids are eating quietly at the table. Any meal I make, I'm already expecting her to say something about it. Yesterday, I made sliders hoping that would be fine. Nope, she asked me to make half of them specific to the older child's taste. No cheese or sauce. Just bread and meat. He still didn't eat it because he didn't know about the taste. Anyway, I've been already cooking with way less vegetables than I usually do, and I'm at my wit's end. But I refuse to cook mac and cheese boxes and no sauce pizza every night. My freezer and pantry are all filled with processed food and snacks that we usually don't have because her kids don't snack on fruits and veggies. They snack on chips and donuts. I wish I was kidding, but I haven't seen her kids consume any fruit or veggies for the past few days. So, am I the a-hole for not catering to their pickiness? I'm trying to keep balanced meals for my own family, and I refuse to change that just because they don't want to eat it. Why are you the one cooking when she's a stay-at-home mom staying with you for free? Not the a-hole. Opie replies, well, she does cook occasionally. She makes mac and cheese, top ramen. But I cook every meal anyway because I just strongly believe in my child having balanced meals. Sometimes I do let my child just eat what she makes too, but I don't feel comfortable with her eating that every day. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to go to my sister's wedding because I never got my dream wedding? All while growing, my parents would talk up me and my sister's wedding. They said that their wedding was by far one of the best days of their lives, and they wanted to be able to give that to their kids. So all this time while growing up, they had binders, saving accounts purely to plan our dream no matter the cost we could enact our visions. Fast forward to last year when me and my now wife were engaged and I came to my parents to begin planning the wedding. They sat me down and explained that COVID and the economy in recent years has disrupted business quite badly and things weren't looking great and they wouldn't be able to afford it. I was heartbroken, but I understood, and we instead had a low-key affair. Fast forward to yesterday, after my little sister got engaged, my family and my wife and her fiancé went out to celebrate, and the topic of the wedding came up, and my mom pulled out the binder and starting talking up her wedding, talking about all the extravagant things they would do. I didn't say anything, but I slowly kind of realized that it didn't really make sense that they could afford her wedding and not mine. When we got home, I confronted my mom, and she kind of dodged it and went, "Maybe it's for the best you had a more intimate wedding considering the circumstances." I asked what that meant, and she shrugged me off. When my sister approached me to ask if I'd like to be her maid of honor, I flat out told her that I wasn't going to her wedding and explained why. She got upset and told me that I wasn't making her day about me and to grow up. And honestly, at this point, I do really feel like a jerk, and now she refuses to speak to me. Am I the a-hole? Edit. People are telling me to add that my sister refused to be my maid of honor because she didn't feel comfortable as it's important to the context. Edit. For those wondering, I have now flat out asked my mom, is it because I'm gay that I didn't get the wedding? She told me not to play the gay card, and that if I'm not adult enough to understand that they simply could at the time, then maybe they shouldn't leave the family business to me. My sister also said she felt uncomfortable with the idea of managing my big day with me already upset. I fear that the YTS are missing the homophobic, bigoted point. Fully not the a-hole that your parents refused to give you your dream wedding, and shame on your sister for glossing over that part just because she's getting hers. Next story. Am I the a-hole for ordering a takeaway after my in-laws ate my food and called me a picky eater? I 30F had a barbecue with my partner's family about a week ago. Both me and my partner brought food for ourselves and to share as well. Since I don't eat certain things meat apart from bird meat, fish/seafood, can't have too much lactose products or anything too oily, and intolerant to a couple of fruits. With all the above, I get very nasty stomach issues if consumed, and fish, no matter how fresh or cooked, just stinks to me. This was the case from very young age. The food we brought included some chicken pieces, wings, and veggies like asparagus, potatoes, and corn. After we got settled, I went to grab some of the food we brought to find out all of it is gone. I have questioned my father-in-law about it as he was in charge of the grill, and he told me other family members ate it first. I have pointed out that it was the food we brought with ourselves and intended to eat ourselves too. But both father-in-law and mother-in-law dismissed me and said I am just being a picky eater since there's still food on the table, beef and pork, which I can't eat. I got annoyed and just ordered a takeaway for myself. I don't have stomach issues after eating from the place. My in-laws called me an a-hole since I haven't asked anyone else if they wanted to order too, and because it made some of the kids upset. The kids in question are all between 14 to 35 plus in ages. My partner is torn in between, and my in-laws are still making sparky comments and call me a spoiled princess. Edit. A few points that were missed. As stated at the beginning, both me and my partner brought food for ourselves and to share 3 full bags in total. It is quite common here in UK to do. I couldn't have left as in-laws live a couple of hours of driving from us. We were staying over and I was not the driver. The father-in-law was in charge of the grill due to his own rules. He has splurged on an expensive new one not so long ago and would refuse anyone near it. We had some pre-made snacks, but obviously snacks are not really that nutritional or healthy to consume on their own. Edit 2. Other questions answered. They knew about my restrictions and that some of the food is mine and for me due to them. They have known me for nearly a decade, and we had plenty of meals and barbecues together, and the restrictions were never a problem. I haven't seen the cooking process as I was in the other part of the garden, which is fairly busy with other kids and dogs. We were playing football, so I wasn't aware when the cooking started. There was plenty of leftovers after, enough to fill the entire fridge, so it was not the case of not having enough food. My wife doesn't eat pork, and hasn't the whole time I've known her. My family is partly Japanese and as an extension uses a lot of pork in cooking. When we have family cookouts, there's a staple recipe that my dad cooks that's one of his favorite things his mom made while she was alive, but it includes bacon. As soon as he found out she didn't eat pork, he immediately changed the recipe to turkey bacon, and the whole family always tries to limit pork used around her. It's wild to me they're not accommodating you, and especially that your partner isn't standing up for you. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, and why is your partner torn? You have dietary restrictions and handle them in a way that imposes as little as possible on others. First, you brought your own food. Then when they ate that, you got some more. Then when they insulted you. Why is your partner torn? Again. That's a problem. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel our posts.